Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Vancouver Rain Draft to Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 23. So in last episode, we started up the year 8 season simulation by giving Garth Howe a pretty big contract extension, which was probably the best part about last episode. Very excited to have him on board for the next 10 seasons. As you can see, he's going to be making $32 million already next season because it is a front-loaded contract, but by the time he's into his 30s and near the end of his contract, he'll be making not too much money, like $17 to $16 million, which is pretty good, I'd say, for a guy that should be probably pretty solid by then still, unless he decides to drop off pretty early. But yeah, very excited to see what is in store for Garth Howe down the road. He has been definitely one of our best players in this series already at this point. As you can see, the last 3 years, well, including this season, I should say, he's been below 4 in terms of ERA, which is pretty good. His whip has been pretty good each season as well. And then if you go to stuff like his WAR, for example, he's been positive in WAR, and his FIP last year was fantastic. This year it's taken a little bit of a step back, but in general he's been really good, and hopefully he finishes off the year pretty strong. Also, guys like Giancarlo Sixto are off to a really good start too this year, batting the .302. He's already got 17 home runs, which ties a career high. So he's going to have probably 30-something home runs by the end of the year, likely, which would be pretty awesome considering our team doesn't usually get a lot of home runs. So he might be that type of player for us in the future. And obviously once that contract ends, I'm going to be giving him a similar contract to Garth Howe in a sense where we give him a 10-year deal and also probably make it front loaded, maybe back loaded depending on our cap situation at that point in time. But very excited for the future of this team regardless. But anyways, before we get into the draft, I do have a couple comments to go over. So the first one is from Joseph DM Miller. He says, I change scouts throughout the scouting phase depending on the players available near my picks. Can make a difference in how many players you scout. Also, discovery and scout position is awful for positional players, but much better for pitchers because there's a lot more of them in the player pool. So what I'm getting from that comment, and I kind of have a new suggestion for kind of what we could be doing in terms of scouting wise. Basically, we're going to be doing a discovery scout for just pitchers only. So for example, this one scout, he is actually, say if he was really good at pitchers, for example, his pitchers thing was at 87, so similar to Kurt Garcia, we'd have him basically scouting out pitchers in each region for 3 weeks at a time. So 3 weeks in the East, 3 weeks in the West, 3 weeks Central, and 3 weeks International. And he'd be basically scouting like that throughout the entire scouting period. So he's just scouting pitchers the entire time. While the other two, if they're better at positional players, we'll have them basically scouting out positional players individually. So we aren't going to be generally scouting players that are third base, second base. We're going to be finding our own players to scout out individually for just those two scouts, while the other one's just basically hard at work throughout the entire time, discovering new pitcher prospects. And that way, we hopefully get some good infielding prospects scouted out and outfield, and then hopefully also get a lot of nice pitchers that we could kind of take in later rounds and that type of thing. I think that might be a good scouting method. Let me know what you guys think about that, and maybe we'll do that as early as next season. So there is that. And then the last comment is from Nick Bacher-Barons OC, who says, Tim Soto is an incredibly safe option. He will be starting level pitcher 99.9% chance. And yeah, Tim Soto was looking like the best player in this draft. Who was I scouting before this? Just let me fix this first because I don't remember who I was scouting before then. Let me scroll through this. I will find it eventually. I just want to make sure that person's getting fully scouted out. Was it this guy? Because this guy's 35%. No, it was Johnny Hoffman. That's who it was. Okay, let's get that guy scouted out still for the rest of the week. But so yeah, Tim Soto is definitely going to be the best option in this draft. Let me show you guys what he's looking like. As you can see, he's between a 66 and a 76 overall. Hopefully he's in the 70 overall range since he's already 21, but he should be at least, he'll definitely be a B potential, but he might just barely creep into the A potential category, which would be nice. So also for the future, his stamina looks really good, which is a great thing. So he'll be able to go long into games, and his home runs per 9 is also pretty good. A few of his other stats I'm not too sold on for the future, but obviously we could develop him in those specific areas and maybe he'll actually be better than that. So hoping that he'll end up being a really good player for us because we do have the first overall pick this year. Also, Nick says, yeah, no generational talent, another weak draft, but at least you got a guaranteed starting caliber guy, which is true. The last few years we've been stuck with some pretty bad draft classes in a sense, so it's still kind of good to have those type of drafts in a sense to kind of fill out your depth in a sense. But hopefully we get one of those generational drafts sooner rather than later. So yeah, Tim Soto is going to be hopefully like a number 2 guy behind Garth Howe eventually, or maybe a number 3 guy depending on if we have other pitchers develop well, because we have drafted a lot of pitchers over the years here in the early going, as you can see, like Gary McAllister, for example. Darren Poles technically could be in the MLB next season. He's a 73, which isn't great. He does only have C potential though, so maybe we want to just try and get him in as soon as possible. We also have guys like Sammy Gomez, who we drafted, Brian Morris, Bobby Hyde, Montero still, even though he's not really living up to expectation, Oliger, Sparbori, Silva. Like, there's a lot of pitchers that we've drafted over the years, but a lot of them have been kind of average at best, except for Garth Howe, that is. So there is that. Let's get into this draft and see if we could get, well, obviously we're going to be able to get our pick, but let's see if he's as good as advertised, which hopefully he is. And hopefully our young prospects like Garth Howe and Sixto have a good rest of the season still. Because I am excited to see what those guys finish up the season looking like. Because we will obviously find that out in the next episode about the rest of the season. But also in next episode, just a little heads up, I'm going to probably show you guys a list of players that I think that could get an upgrade or a downgrade. And you guys could let me know who you think should be getting a downgrade or an upgrade in terms of potential. Like, for example, should Schneider get a downgrade because he's playing like trash this year? That type of thing. So let's add some players to our draft list here. So yeah, Soto is definitely the guy, even though Pacheco looks like he's going to be interesting. Brian Murray, who we were scouting out, actually looks like he might be really solid. But the thing is, we don't know that for sure. Wow, yeah, Brian Murray actually might be really good. Yeah, we didn't have him fully scouted out, but he looks like he's going to be a... he could be an A potential player. He might be low. He might be a C potential player, which would be a big risk. So that's why I can't draft this guy. But he looks like he might be actually decent. We're just gonna add pretty much everybody that we scouted out a little bit on. If they have under 35% though, then I probably won't add them. Like for example, Martin Chavez. I don't think I'm gonna add him to this list. We're just gonna add anybody that's at 35 or above. And yeah, hopefully we find some good late round steals as well. Late draft steals, because obviously having late draft steals will go a long way in terms of building up this team in the future. 35% there, 70%, 30 there. We might as well add 30s as well, just not the 20s and whatever. Yeah, I hope we find some good players in the late rounds. If not, it is what it is, but hopefully next year's draft is better. But yeah, Tim Soto is definitely our man. The only problem I have with Soto is his bonus demand's $9 million. We only have $14 million of bonus allotment money, which means we're going to have to take some cheaper options probably in the later rounds if we want to be able to afford everybody. So there is that. Let's get into this draft and take Tim Soto number 1. Hopefully he is the best player in this draft. If he's not, obviously that will kind of suck, but he's basically the safest option for us. He also has a high interest, which is good, so he should be able to sign with us quite easily. And yeah, he's going to be a really high overall, which is good, like I said, but hopefully that potential's up there as well. Because like when we've had this type of thing before, like with Bobby Hyde, for example, we thought he was going to be a higher potential, and he only has like 83 to 85 potential, I think it is. So yeah, I mean, if Tim Soto has any really good seasons, then he could get his potential raised. That is true, though. So yeah, let's get into this draft and take Tim Soto at number 1. Milwaukee, then Baltimore. And then it's Cincinnati and Kansas City. We'll take a look at the top 5 of the draft. And then afterwards, obviously, we'll sim to our next pick. But here you go, Tim Soto. Be the man for us. Be the man. And hopefully he is kind of an A potential. If he's a B potential, then hopefully it's a high B potential. Oh, damn, I didn't even realize he was bald. There you go, Tim Soto. 66 to 76 overall. 82 to 92 potential. Hopefully that is the right stats, because we did scout him with a pitcher scout that's not the best pitcher scout, so I don't know if it's incredibly safe or not, but hopefully it is, and hopefully our scout didn't just drop the ball there. Number 2, what is Milwaukee taking? Don't think I recognize who this dude is. It's going to be Joaquin Mora, a pitcher that we never even scouted out, but he might be a really low overall. He might be a really high overall. So that's a kind of a risk for the Brewers right there. Like if he's a 43 overall at 18, that's not great really. But if he's a 77 at 18 and 99 potential, that's a really good steal for them. And I wish I would have scouted out that guy if he actually is that good, which hopefully he's not, just for our luck. Let's see, number 3. What is going at number 3? The Orioles, after some leg, it seemed like, are just going to take Robinson Anaya, another starting pitcher that might have a low overall but a high ceiling. He could also be an 87 overall, which would be insane for an 18-year-old, but I really doubt it. But hopefully we made the right call there. There's 3 starting pitchers going, so does mean it's going to be a good draft for starting pitchers at least. I'm guessing Pacheco should be going soon. Pete Tavares also looked pretty good, so I would assume he would be going. There is also De La Cruz. I wish I would have kind of taken De La Cruz in a sense because we do need a shortstop, but there's no guarantee he's going to be a 65 overall plus. So Marcel Hernandez goes at number 5. We did scout this guy, and my scouts didn't really like this guy. They think he might be like a B potential player, but there's no guaranteed on that. Yeah, my scouts have him at 68, so that might be a whiff of a pick there for Kansas City. And then Vargas goes at number 6. Let's sim to our next pick here, see who's still on the list. Wow, Pete Tavares is still there. I think I got to go with Pete Tavares because we do need relievers. Brian Murray did go number 10. We were looking at this guy. Who else we got here? Escalona already went, damn. I was hoping he'd go second round, kind of. I'm surprised that the reliever's still there. Charlie Knotts also goes in the first round. We'll see how good some of these guys are. Hopefully we made the right decision. Yeah, Johnny Hoffman wasn't actually looking that great. Well, he's looking solid, but he's not looking insane. So there's the rest of the first round in case you guys wanted to take a look at that. And yeah, I think we got to go with Tavares here because he's going to have a high overall and should have a high potential if our scout is right. This guy is going to be way too low for an overall. He hasn't been fully scouted out. Like the next 100% scouted player is like nobody almost in here. Yeah, I think I got to go with Tavares here. So, Pete Tavares, welcome aboard. You're going to be hopefully our best relief pitcher prospect that we've ever drafted. Because if we have a nice relief pitcher prospect, that would be great. His bonus demand is a little bit high, but we should be able to afford him in the other one. Obviously, we need to take some cheaper options in the later rounds, but I like that pick of Tavares. Now we have back-to-back picks, I believe. Bill Pineda, he's kind of a wild card. He might be he might be a D potential player at this rate, so our scouts have him at 60 though, which is interesting. At least right now, he's only 35% scouted. Is there anybody that's like 100% scouted still, or really highly scouted? There is Jesus Cruz, who might be a really good potential, but a low overall. I might take him, even though he's 21 and low overall, maybe. But he's not supposed to go till like 124, so we might be able to take him on a later pick. We do have back-to-back picks, though. Anybody else higher than 70% scouted? We also have this guy, but he's kind of average. This guy's only 35 to 70%. Yeah, the rest of these guys that we have on our list do not look super great. So I think I'm just going to give the chance with that one guy. Even if he's a low overall, if he has a high potential, that'd be great. And he's also got a low bonus demand. So yeah, let's take this guy. And then we have another pick, I think. Yep, we have our next pick too. So we might as well just go with the pick that our scouts think is the best, which 35% though only scouted. It's a bit of a risk, but I might be willing to take it. There's also Ono. But once again, he's 21, might be a low overall, but we might as well take a chance with Ono. So we'll see how good he is. He is injured, but obviously injuries don't really matter unless they continue to get injured in the MLB. We do still have some other players on our list, which is good. Always good to have players on your list late in the draft. 70% scouted. I mean, he's okay, but he's not going to become anything huge, probably. I still might take him anyways. This guy's going to be too low for an overall for a 22-year-old. And he's only 30% scouted. 70% on this guy, but eh. This guy might be a long range of a prospect. This guy might be a low overall and has an okay potential. Matt Grace. I mean, I've been drafting a lot of catchers as of lately, though. That's the only thing. Yeah, we didn't scout out a lot of 18-year-olds because most of these guys are like 21 and above. Yeah, I feel like the rest of this draft is pretty much a crapshoot. Let's take a chance with Bill Pineda since he's 18. And we'll sim to our next pick in round 5. We'll take a chance on this guy since he's 18 as well. Because at this point, we really just don't know what we're going to get. So we're just going to take chances on some of these younger guys. Because this guy could be decent. This guy could also be really good. He might be a good project catcher as well. Yeah, let's take Felipe Torres. And that is our draft. So hopefully we're able to sign all these guys. But we got our guys that we wanted, which is good. Let's advance a day. And we should be able to sign our prospects soon. Let's take a look at who made it to the home run derby. Oh, wait a sec. Okay. So Toronto has the All-Star game. I wonder when we're going to have the All-Star game. But none of our players made it into the home run derby. So unfortunately, Sixto just missed out, I think. He was getting close probably to being a home run derby player. And then All-Star game-wise, who do we have as representatives? I would guess Sixto and maybe Howe could be at the All-Star game this year for us. So let's take a look and see if we got any of our guys in here. Anybody get it for starting pitchers? No. Oh, actually, Dennis Lake got in for closers. So Dennis Lake is an all-star at 23. That's pretty good. He has been a really solid closer for us so far this year. Like under a 1 whip. That's pretty solid. I do like that quite a bit. So good stuff there, Dennis. He makes it to the all-star game for the first time in his career. And in terms of other players, do we got anybody else making it? Ozzy Cardenas made it. Okay, so we have 2 all-star representatives. Cardenas makes it. He's currently batting at 285. That's pretty good. I'm surprised he made it over Sixto. Huh. So, yeah, Cardenas and Dennis Lake are your all-star representatives this year. Pretty good. Let's advance another day, and we should be able to start scouting or trying to get our prospects signed shortly. Might be in the next day. Let's see. Or is that the end of this week? No, it's the next day. Okay. Perfect. Let's get into signing those prospects, especially Soto. So we got $14 million. Let's just try and sign Soto right out of the gate. And he declines right out of the gate. Come on, Soto. We are definitely going to get you regardless. He's the most important one to get in. And then we're going to try... Actually, I can't offer Tavares yet because he's got a lower interest. But I should actually put him on there just because we do need to get him above 50%. We will try and sign Pineda and stuff like that already because these guys are relatively cheap. There you go. Pineda's already accepted. That's good. We can't sign you yet. We can sign Amori Gomez already. He declines, but we will get him at some point. What else we got here? Jesus Cruz. Get you up there a little bit. He declines as well. Come on, boys. You got to accept these offers. And even if they don't accept, we'll find a way to sign them in the off season. So let's get a couple of these other 40%er guys scouted out a little bit longer. And obviously, hopefully, they accept their next contract offers when they get the chance, some of these guys. So let's go to, we can't get Tavares yet. We can't get any of these dudes yet, so we'll remove them. Let's go back to Timmy. And let's offer him again the same contract. There you go. Timmy has accepted. So Tim Soto is on board. That's great. We do not have a lot of allotment money left, but we should be able to afford most of these guys, I think. Amori Gomez, let's talk you up a little bit to 60%. He also accepts. Let's go Gomez. We also have Jesus Cruz, so let's get him up a little bit. He's accepted. Perfect. Still 3.81 of allotment money. And these guys just need to be scouted out a little bit longer. But we should be able to afford all of them with the money we have left. Obviously, Tavares is the most important one, so we're going to probably focus on Tavares first. If we lose the other two, so be it. We'll be able to get them maybe in the off-season. Okay, let's see. So, Pete Tavares, you are not above 50% yet, but you are close, which is good. All 3 of them are close. Auto on that, and that's good. Let's try and sign those boys up again. Pete Tavares, let's give you what you want. He declines. Come on, Pete. I will try and get Ono for a little less. There you go. Ono accepts that 52% interest. Let's go another week on these 2 boys. And yeah, we're going to need to get that relief pitcher first. There you go. So Pete Tavares, let's give you what you want. He is accepted. Let's go, Pete. And we have still 722, which means all the rest of this money is going to go to Felipe Torres. There you go. We got everybody that we drafted, which is great. Because I know we had problems with this type of thing earlier in this franchise mode, but now we seem to be drafting pretty much, or signing all of the players we draft, which is good. Okay, let's sim through all this and get up until the draft results. See how good we did this year in the draft. Hopefully we did well enough. No, I do not care about the trade deadline. Now we should be able to find out our picks, I think. I think we're at that right point. I also got some contract extensions we could dish out already next episode, but I might do that in the off... Well, actually, yeah, I'll do that in the off-season portion probably of next episode, but let's go to sign draft picks and see how good we did. Hopefully Tim Soto is the man that we were looking at. Let's see. Actually, no, we're not there yet. We have to go one more day. I always close my eyes when I get to that point. Okay, now we should be able to find out. So is Tim Soto the best player that we've drafted in this first round? Or the best player that is in this draft, for that matter? He is a B potential. But 65 at 21 is pretty good. But I was hoping he'd be a higher overall. But he's still going to be a starting pitcher in the MLB, which is good. He's got high stamina as we were scouting out. His hits per nine is pretty damn low, and his Ks per nine is a little bit low. So I think that's the area we need to address for him for training-wise. But other than that, his pitching clutch is pretty solid right now. Velocity, in general, looks like he's going to be a solid pitcher. He does also have a really good bunt, or a really solid bunt, I should say. That's pretty good. Okay, so there's Tim Soto. I would say that's a solid pick, but obviously we didn't know enough about this draft class. Hopefully there's no super crazy A potential guy that's like 80 overall. Let's see what our next pick is looking like. Pete Tavares, C potential. Damn. No wonder he fell to the next round. I was hoping he'd be a higher potential than that, but C potential is still okay. 62 overall at 21 is okay as well. He might still be a solid reliever at the MLB level, but not the type of player we were expecting, I would say. His Ks and 9 is really good, though, so I do like that. Next one, Jesus Cruz. B potential 49 at 21. Yeah, that's a bit of a low overall for a 21-year-old, but, I mean, he still could make it, but obviously, hopefully he gets a lot of development first. He does have some good speed, good stealing, but, yeah, this is definitely a weaker draft class again. I really hope we get a good draft class soon, because or else it's going to be really tough to build up this team as fast as possible. Okay, our next pick, let's see what we got here. Spencer Ono, B potential at 21 as well, 52 overall, so he's a little bit better than Cruz, but not by much. Oh well, he's from Japan, so I think that's one of our first players from Japan, which is kind of neat. So there is Ono. Any good stats about him? He's got good speed and stealing as well, so at least we have maybe some guys that could be pinch runners or something like that. I don't even know. Next pick up, we got Bill Pineda, 73 overall at 18. Wow. Okay, that was a good steal. That was a good steal. C potential only kind of sucks, but 73 at 18. This guy could end up being like the next Cardenas. High overall with a low potential, but then we up his potential. Like, his power hitting is pretty solid already. Like, he's pretty balanced. He's pretty balanced. He's got good speed as well in stealing, and a lot of other stats. Like, his only weakness, I'd say, is his contact against lefties is a bit low, but obviously we'll probably develop him into being more of a power hitter, since that seems to be where he's good at. Maybe he'll be like the power hitting version of Cardenas. But I do like that pick. I do like that pick. It sucks that the potential's a little bit low. What's our next pick looking like? Amori Gomez, 49 C potential at 18. Not great. He's definitely going to be down there in terms of our catching prospects, but at least we're getting some catcher prospects in. Not all of them are going to make it to the show, but some of them will be able to fill out like AA and AAA rosters. And then Felipe Torres. Wow, okay. So our last pick, I think, of the draft was A potential, so that's actually great to see that, but he's a 43 overall at 18, so he's a major project for a catcher, but he's going to be like William Halpern in a sense that he could be a really good catcher for us in the future. Maybe his potential drops if he doesn't develop fast enough, but I do like that pick, of course, because A potentials can't go wrong with that late. And that was our draft. So, yeah, Soto, only 81 potential. Are you kidding me? Wow. I honestly can't. I don't really like how this is turning out the last few years. Like we always draft a starting pitcher that we think is going to be like A potential, and he only turns out to be a low B potential. Like 81 potential, like you're going to be a solid pitcher, but you're not going to become like that outrageous guy. But in a sense, I guess that's good because if we have too many 90s, we're going to end up having to pay them all like tons of money. But if we have guys that are like 80s and kind of average more so, they aren't going to be as expensive to bring back. But wow, not that great for Tim Soto in that sense. Pete Tavares is a 62 overall, and he has 79 potential. So at least he'll become maybe a solid reliever in the MLB because 79 is not bad, I'd say. Jesus Cruz has 89 potential, so that's actually really good, but obviously he's a long ways away. And then Ono has 84 potential. And yeah, these two guys are probably going to take time to develop, but at least we're getting some more prospects in for the outfield. And then, yeah, Bill Pineda has only 77 potential, but he's a 73 at 18. So if we could, if he has some good seasons in Double or Triple A, obviously I think we're going to up that potential. But for right now, obviously he's going to still stay at a C, but he might be a solid player down the road. Amori Gomez only has 79 potential, but at least that's still kind of useful. And Felipe Torres has the 90 potential, so just barely into the A category. So I'd say it's a solid draft for us, but at the same time, we drafted a lot of 21-year-olds that don't have super high ceilings, so I'm kind of worried about that, but hopefully they actually do decent at the MLB level once they get there. Or hopefully they outgrow their potentials, or we give them higher up potentials if they do good, that type of thing. Let's take a look at the rest of this draft and see what we missed out on. So there was, for 8 potential players, Richard Cabrera, 50 overall left fielder that has 90 potential. Nobody really there in Texas. What else we got here? I'm trying to look for the names also that I was looking at before. Nobody there really for the Braves. Yeah, this draft class isn't looking that good. What a surprise. Will Field, what a name. Imagine having the last name Field and being a baseball player. That's funny. Carmen Escalona, who we were looking at, is a high overall. I was hoping this guy would fall to the second round. He's a pretty good contact hitter. High overall, but low potential. So he probably would have been like Cardenas as well in that sense. So there is Carmen Escalona. I don't think I scouted anybody else on that team. Vargas, I don't think I scouted him, but I believe he was a pretty high up pick, right? Was he number 3 or number 4 or number 5, somewhere around there? Maybe number 6? 85 potential, so nothing crazy. 93 potential shortstop, though, who was the 55 at 18, Joel Padilla. Yeah, that's a great pick there for the Phillies. Obviously a project player, but still has a really good ceiling. What else we got here? Washington didn't really take anybody super good. The Cubs, they have Alexi Batista, who's solid, but yeah, not a great draft for them either. The Reds, they did get one A potential guy. That's a closing pitcher, Billy Wesley. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that guy would have been really good. But, I mean, we don't really need closers. We have a couple closers already. But we do. I need to draft more eventually for the future. But still, there's that. Joaquin Mora, solid, I guess. Same with Samuels. Yeah, this draft is not looking good at all. There's too much like low end, well, average prospects, I should say, not low end. Brian Murray was pretty good. 72 at 18. Fantastic contact hitting against right-handed pitchers. 84 potential as well. So yeah, that guy's going to be pretty good. Obviously, I was going to take him with the first overall pick, but if we would have had a later round pick, maybe I would have taken somebody like him. But yeah, that's a pretty good pick there for the Pirates. Nobody really else. What else we got here? Pena, Venable, nobody really else. Castillo, oh man, yeah, this is a really weak draft class. Peter Romero is decent. Antoine De La Cruz, didn't we scout out this guy? I feel like, oh yeah, I think he was the shortstop I was looking at, or one of the shortstops. He's got a good potential, a little bit of a low overall, but he's 18, so that's good. Salinas, we were looking at, I think, at one point. He's also got an okay potential, and he's a solid overall, I guess, for an 18-year-old. Austin Gordon, solid first baseman prospect. Brandon Boswell, okay. Yeah, in general, this is just not a good class. Again, some of these guys are going to be okay, but there's some of them that are just like project players or nothing at all. Like, look at Johnny Hoffman. Really thought this guy was going to be a pretty solid player. We had him scouted out between a 65 and a 98, and he's only got a 79 potential. Yikes. Yikes indeed. Maybe we need some more new scouts again. Maybe needing to rework it. Nothing really there for Baltimore other than Pablo Rincon. Then Boston, nothing really at all either. Jeez. Okay, the Yankees look like they had an okay draft at least. They got Warren Steadman, who's pretty solid. He's a 68 overall at 18. Not a really high potential, but still. Arthur Rosas is pretty good. And Blake Coleman. That's funny. Not the NHL player Blake Coleman, but there you go. It's funny. What else we got here? Tampa, Hideo Sasaki. I think we were looking at him when we were looking at catcher prospects, so that's a good one there. Brian Chin, what a name. Jack Granger, solid. Stephen Rimo, solid. But yeah, no draft players really that good in this one. Felix Gonzalez, solid closing pitcher, but only a 63 at 20. 91 potential though, so yeah, I think that's still a great pick there for the Guardians. All things considered, and oh my. Yeah, it looks like Detroit had a good draft. Zavala's pretty solid. Nothing insane. Cologne is solid, but nothing insane potential-wise. Alfredo Mata is a great pick. 94 potential, 53 overall at 19, so a little bit of a low overall, but that potential is really good. This guy might be a superstar at some point. Marcelo Hernandez, who we scouted out, not that good. He is a 74 overall, but he's got a 74 potential. We scouted him out between a 62 and a 94 potential. Yikes. And then Francisco Pacheco, was that the closer that went? Yeah, that's the closer that we had, that number 2 that we were looking at maybe taking at number 1. He's got C potential. 75 potential, 64 overall at 22. I mean, that velocity is insane. It's maxed out velocity-wise, but other than that, yeah, I don't really know about this guy. That's a bit of an oof pick there for the Royals. Yeah, this wasn't a good draft. I think we did actually really solid, all things considered. Because the rest of these teams, a lot of them drafted like 60s and 70 potential guys, but we got a couple 80 potential guys. Ken Butler is a really good relief pitcher prospect. Wish I would have taken him in the second round if he was still there. I don't know if he was, though. I think he might have went first round. And then back to us. Yeah, I think we had an okay draft because Tim Soto, obviously his potential, not that great, but Jesus Cruz has potential. Same with Ono and same with Torres. And then the rest of those players are in the 70s. I think we had a good draft, but I don't really know which team had the best draft out of the entire league because it just wasn't a great class. Final thing, let's take a look at our player stats to wrap up this episode. Going into the last stretch of the season, I just want to take a look at a few players in particular. So Garth Howe won a few more games. He's now got a 3.85 ERA and a 1.18 whip. He's jumped up to 92. See, this is why we locked up this guy. And yeah, that FIP has jumped back down to where it was almost at last season. So I am very happy with Garth Howe. Don't want to take a look at too much players yet. We want to wait till the end of the season. But let me take a look at Cardenas and Sixto. Cardenas is batting at 283. He's been pretty good. Trevino kind of struggling compared to last year, but that's okay. Jeff Pipp is still struggling, but he's got a lot of RBIs. It's probably because his discipline's not super great. Steve Schneider still doing terrible batting average-wise, but he is developing apparently. And then we also have Giancarlo Sixto batting at 308 now. New career in home runs. RBI-wise, he's getting close. He is still almost at a 1 OPS, which is awesome. So, yeah. Pretty good stats, it looks like. Some of these guys are definitely improving. Like Ollie Gelman, for example, he's actually doing decent. Pretty good. You go to league leaders for a second. I just want to take a look and see if we have anybody leading in this area right now. Gelman's still up there in doubles, O'Donnell in triples. Sixto is up there in home runs at number 7. He is 11 behind Rafael Devers, though, so he's not going to win probably a batting title, but he is having a great year, all things considered. O'Donnell and Gelman still up there in stolen bases, which is pretty cool. Sixto is up there on base percentage. Slugging percentage, he's number 5. OPS-wise, he's number 5. just trailing Devers, Alvarez, Rodriguez, and Cruz. And then pitching wise, let me go to ERA and stuff like that. Let's see if Garth Howe's anywhere, which is not looking like it right now. Yeah, he's not up there yet. Pitching WAR wise, he should be up there, right? He has been decent. Guess not. 24th in pitching WAR for him. In batting WAR, Sixto is number 3. Sixto is having a great year. I can't wait to lock this guy up for long term. It's going to cost a lot of money, but it's going to be worth it for sure. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Vancouver Rain Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll simulate the rest of the season. We'll get through the offseason as well. I will show you guys some players at the end of next episode for potential upgrades and downgrades. And hopefully you guys can give me some suggestions on what we should be doing with that, just because we want to make sure these players are getting their proper potentials as they develop, or if they fall off, that type of thing. So anyways, let me know what you guys think of that below, and I'll see you guys next time.